Matt and I are hiding from the heat down here under the shed. This is like the coolest place now. Early in the morning, it's the coolest place. So we're going to break up a mess of beans. We're having company come over for supper, so we want to feed them something good. I actually washed these beans first. Normally we don't do that. These were bush beans, and the dirt, because of all the rain, had really just got up on them, so it was so dirty that we had to wash them. I find it really interesting, since I've been doing YouTube, a lot of people told me they were not familiar with beans that you have to string. You have to get the strings off of them. So that was interesting. I knew there was beans that you don't have to string, but these are the ones that we've always grown and always canned, and very popular in Appalachia. Another thing folks have told me is that instead of, we call them breaking up beans. I got to break up beans. They call them snapping, which makes sense. You're snapping. Breaking makes sense too, though. So lots of different ways for people to describe what they're doing. But in Appalachia, you definitely break up beans. Something I did when I was growing up with Granny, helping her and Pap, and a lot of people have memories of that, helping their family or their grandmother or their aunt or something break up beans. Of course, me and Matt's broke up a lot of them since we've been married. If you make a garden and preserve the bounty, you have to. And we eat a lot of green beans. I recently had someone ask me why we grow so many. Well, because it makes up a huge part of our diet. We really like them.
And it goes with anything.
It goes with anything, yeah. But green beans are very common in the mountains of Appalachia, and something that people for generations have grown, for sure. Often you'll hear people talk about shucky beans, shuck beans, shab beans, or leather breeches. All those mean dried beans, dried green beans. We call, in our area, they're called leather breeches. Other places in Appalachia call them by the shucky beans, shuck beans, or even shab beans. I have a video where I talk about all that. I'll link to it. So if you'd like to go and watch it and find out more. I did not grow up in a family that did leather breeches every year. Didn't do them at all, ever, that I remember. Granny and Pap just preferred them either fresh or canned. But there's lots of people that just adore the taste of leather breeches. And Matt and I have made them several times over the years, but we don't make them every year. It is a different taste. I like it, but it's totally different than green beans, than fresh green beans or canned green beans, or frozen green beans for that matter.
I like them.
But they are, yeah, they're good. And when I was growing up and I helped Granny, she's very, very particular about her beans. So you better not leave a string on them. What happens sometimes is like this one, I strung it, but then when I'm breaking it, see, there's still some string there. She'd get really upset if you didn't get every string off. Well, then when her grandkids come along, she would every summer, Katie and Corey and my niece April would help her string beans, help her pick beans. And she would just, one time I was down there and she was just letting them do whatever, and I could see they were leaving strings in them. And I said, Granny, why are you not being so picky with them like you were with me when I was little? She said, oh, don't worry about it. Those are the ones I'll can for you and Matt and Kim and Steve. So she knew she wasn't going to eat them. She's going to give them to us, Funny. Sorry, I wanted that one for an example. Another thing we talk about that people ask us about is shelly beans. What are shelly beans? Well, for us, what they mean, and it happens more as the summer goes on, because your beans get tougher, and maybe you miss some, or you don't pick as often. The beans are just maturing faster, whatever it may be, and they get to where maybe there's a pod like this one. You can see that one. And it's kind of tough and kind of, what would you say, Matt, flimsy on the outside, so it might not be the best eating. So we don't want to waste it, though. So what we would do is open it up and then get the beans out of the inside, discard the shell, and put those in your beans that you're cooking. And those are shellies. Matt loves, and I do too, green beans with lots and lots of shellies, and somehow that just naturally happens as the summer goes on. You could say, well, you should just, if you like them like that, why don't you just wait till they're all like that? But in the beginning of the summer, you want to pick your beans, because picking them encourages more growth, so you want to keep picking them. And of course you want to pick them at the end of the summer too, but somehow nature, it just naturally happens that there's more shellies as your summer goes on. And somehow those added loose beans in there just really make it good. There's another one. And these are peanut beans that Matt and I are working up today, or going to fix tonight actually, just to eat for supper. And we've already picked them one time this year, and this is the second time, and we pulled them up, so this is the last time for them. They're pretty, but they've got a little bit of bug damage. The first time we picked them, they were just pristine, didn't have anything. It's got a little bit of bug damage. And I've had people ask me about that too. So what if there is a brown spot? What do? You can take a little paring knife and cut it out. You can leave it, and once it cooks up, you really won't notice it. So it's just, and some people discard them if they're not just a perfectly pristine bean. If I can find another one, Matt, that might have a little hole or something in them. Of course, when I'm looking, now that one's just got a tiniest little brown spot. I would just leave that. I wouldn't even try to get it off with a knife. Sometimes you can scrape it off with your fingernail if you wanted to. Get a little paring knife. Granny, when she breaks up beans, she has a knife with her the whole time. I'm just trying to find one that might be. Sometimes you might find one. Here's a good example. So it's, if you can see, the end of it there has some almost, okay, I dropped it, man. Where did it go? It went down in the table here. The bottom of it there has some, almost looks like some rot, and then this end kind of looks pitiful, and it's got some bug damage on it, but in the middle it's good. So what I would do is break off those two ends, keep the middle part. This one's not gonna break off, so then I just got the bean out of it.
A lot of people don't want to put them in a jar or can them if they've spotted or got bad places because they don't look good in the jar.
Well, that's true.
That don't bother me at all.
No. And as far as deciding if you think one is a shelly or not, that's just something that comes with time of, you know, personal preference and experience. I don't do mine exactly like Granny done hers. We're not as picky as she was. We should be, because then when I open a jar and I get a string in my mouth, I wish we had been, but at the time, we're not. And other ways that we do ours slightly different.
And I always shell out these real pale looking ones. Pale yellow or whatever type of bean it is. If it turns a drastically different color than the rest of them, usually the pale ones will just fall apart anyway. So I always shell those out.
When it comes to cooking green beans, I have a video about that too, but just a general thing is, in the mountains of Appalachia, people most people, some people, there's always exceptions of course, but it's very common, maybe I should say it that way, that people like to cook their green beans to death. They just cook them for hours until they're real soft. Some people can't stand that. They're so mushy, you know, they just couldn't eat something like that. I understand that. Everybody has to do their own thing, but for us, that's how we cook them.
My mama couldn't have it. She did not like that.
She wanted them to be...
she wanted them crispy.
Yeah, crispy, like maybe just barely sauteed or roasted in the oven. And they're good like that too. I agree, they're good like that. We've got company coming, looks like.
Looks like Goldilocks is coming.
Yeah, Goldilocks. Wait, Katie's got her hair fixed in pigtails.
I'll help. I just gotta find a chair.
You've got to find a chair. You can help.
I should probably tie my shoes too, they don't tie.
There's two chairs up at the herb garden.
Once the beans are broke up, going back to how we cook them, we do cook them to death. But I will, and I do this, it's not necessary, but Granny did it. It's one thing I do exactly like her, is that I will go up there and rinse these again. I've already washed them since they were kind of dirty this go around. And then I will put them in a big pot of water and bring them to a boil. And then I will pour that water off. Granny always said that got the bean scums, what she called it, off of them. It's not necessary that you do that, but I do it because she did it. And then once that's done, then I'll fill back up with fresh water, and then we will season them with a type of meat. Matt's favorite to use is
Either some real fat bacon or side meat if we've got it. A lot of times we don't have that. But just some kind of real fatty pork or ham. We've actually got. We might cook that in this. We've actually got quite a few pieces frozen of some ham bone.
we do, yeah. That
And
would be
we
good.
might cook these with one of those. That's awful good too.
Yeah. Sometimes if we don't have any fresh meat or any meat available that we're going to use that day, we just use a spoon. We keep our bacon grease, so just use a big spoonful of bacon grease. Salt and pepper, and that's about it. Your salt would depend on if you did use salt pork, fat back, streaked meat, we call it most often. If you use that, it's got a lot of salt in it, so you kind of have to be aware of that depending on how salty you wanted your beans. And really to kind of take them over the top would be to add some new potatoes, little new potatoes in there, and let them cook. And we may do that today. We haven't this year so far.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
Good day for new potatoes and beans.
Did I know the whole time that there was 4 of these chairs and not 2 of them that kept moving around?
I don't know. There is 4. I bought 2 for your daddy last year, 2 extra ones, thinking we were going to put them at the big garden, but we never.
Instead of that, we made a junk pile down there.
Yeah, instead of that, we could have had a eating area, but we made a junk pile.
I'm just gonna throw my strings on the ground.
Here, share with this, and that way we won't have to pick them up. We'll junk up your daddy's shed.
It's already started and I ain't even got the sides on it yet.
When it comes to canning the green beans, I have a blog post I can link to and show you how she cans hers. And me and Matt did ours like that for years and years and years. I mean, what, 20 years more? Probably, whatever, exactly like she did. But a couple of years ago, I guess 2 years ago maybe, I saw where some people, like Granny blanches hers before she puts them in the jar. And I saw where some people don't do that. They just put them straight in the jar. And one day I was really tired and I didn't want to go through all that process. So I said, let's just try it, Matt, like that. Like putting them in, I guess that's called cold packing, putting them in there just like they are after we break them up. And we did, and I even marked the jars, like that was the one canning we did that first year, and said that way we'll see if we can tell a big difference. Well, we couldn't tell any difference, could we?
No.
So from then on, we just thought, well, that's just easier. Now the problem with it is, though, you can't get as many beans in a jar. You can't get as many beans in your jar, so it takes more jars if you ever how many beans you got, or maybe that's, you need a really large portion when you're about to feed your family. But since then, me and Matt's just took the easy way of, we just put them in the jar with a teaspoon of salt, fill them with water. Granny also heated her water and put hot water in there. We don't do that. And then Matt starts the canner off with the same temperature water that we put in there, like room temperature water, and then just cans them that way. And I let Matt handle, I'm very lucky, Matt handles the actual pressure cooker. He loves that, so I don't even have to worry about it. But you do it how many pressures and how much pressure and for how long, Matt?
15 pounds for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, we're breaking these beans, and it made me think of last night I went down to Corey's house for a minute.
This one needs a Band-Aid.
And it kind of looks a little, this would be shelly
Pretty
beans on
beans.
that one. Those are pretty
See them?
Oh, yeah.
pink. I went down to Corey's, and she come outside, and she had Woody. She was holding him, and he had a green bean in his hand, about like this right here. And I said, Corey, where'd he get the bean? And she had her picked some green beans and had them laid out on a towel in her kitchen. And I guess they were breaking them or doing whatever with them, and he wanted to help, and so he had that bean, and he just loved it. Corey said, just holding it. And in a little while, me and Corey got to talking, and I guess we weren't exactly watching him real close. And in a little while, we saw him, and he had the bean, and there was a big bot going out of it. And he just bit the top off of it. And I said, "Woody?" And he was just, crunching it. And Corey said, "Do you think he'll choke on it?" And I said, "No, I don't guess." And he swallowed it and ate it, and we took it away from him. And I actually brought it and set it in the... I took it and I forgot to give it back to Corey, so then I brought it home.
I saw that bean in there on the counter
Yeah,
and
I did
wondered
too,
what that
and I
was.
thought, where did that bean come from?
That's the
Like,
one
is
Woody
that-
took a bite out
I
of.
thought it was one we had dropped when we was
We
breaking the other
canned
day.
a few days ago, had a big cannon, and I thought, was that from that? What's that from?
I'll
How
eat
did
it.
we miss that? Or
I love to eat them raw, just plain. They taste great.
when Katie can tell you about it, but when her and Corey were little, playing around in the holler, and April, my niece, that's where you'd go, wouldn't it, to Pap's Big Bean Patch?
For a snack, we'd just go to picking them and eating them. We didn't care. If they had any of them peas, we'd eat those sweet peas too. They were real good.
The sugar snap.
Yeah.
And
We
you
did,
used
we-
to help Granny. I was telling about that, about how she wasn't picky with y'all like she was with me.
No, we ate as much as we broke, and she'd tell us, "Quit eating my beans."
And she wasn't picky about your strings either. Y'all'd get silly. That's what you'd do.
Oh, yeah. And then we weren't really paying attention to the quality. There was no quality control.
Yeah.
We were just wanting to goof off, so that's what we did. We would just goof.
It was big fun, wasn't it, helping Granny?
It was. My favorite is how Granny would get up real early in the morning and she'd say, "I'm going to the bean patch," and she was real worried about snakes, and it, you can get bug bit in a bean patch pretty easily, and she, I guess, didn't want that to happen, so she would put on a pair of blue jeans, and then she'd pull up socks way up over her blue jeans and put on a long sleeve shirt and a long flannel shirt and a hat, and I mean, she got so
She'd
much.
wear Pap's pants, and then she'd put her big flannel shirt and tuck it in, and
Yeah, it was. I'm like, I don't know how you. And even early in the
I was
morning.
afraid she was going to heat stroke.
I
Yeah,
know.
I don't
Even
know how
early in the
she
morning,
didn't
I'm like, I don't know
heat
how you
stroke.
handle this. And she would take a Snickers bar down there, and she would take a Walmart bag, and she'd just pick beans in the bean patch, eating a Snickers bar. But Granny would she'd pick a bag full. She'd bring a few bags, and then she'd have to get another bag. And I know because I went through that bean patch lots of times and saw it. She was bad to forget how many bags she had picked. And she would leave a Walmart bag sitting in the garden
you'd
somewhere.
have to take it to her.
I'd go through there and I'd say, "Granny's left another bag," and I'd pick it up and take it to her. Because eventually, you can't just hold them the whole time. It'd get heavy, so she'd set it down, and she'd forget it. And that bean patch was a big one, and it was, on up in the summer, it was thick, like a forest, and it would have been easy to lay a bag down and not see it in there because of how thick it was, especially if you moved a row.
Yeah.
And so we'd have to take it, and if we wouldn't help her, she'd make us hold the bag. She'd say, "Well, one of you hold the bag, and I'll pick." She didn't want us picking because she knew we'd leave beans hanging. Because we were probably being silly again.
That trait got passed down.
The silliness?
Leaving
No,
beans
I
hanging.
miss them. I just don't see them. Same way the big zucchini and squash sneak up on me.
I'm better about it
I
now than I
actually
was.
do look. I just miss them somehow. I'm looking in too big of a hurry, I'm sure.
I miss some too. I mean, when you're looking through all that foliage, it all just kind of runs together. And you miss some.
Crunchy.
We're about to the end. You think that's going to be enough for supper, Matt, for everybody?
I don't know, I'm a doubting it. Listen, I tell you what,
We may have to add more to it if we
I
get
like
this
the way
one.
these taste raw better than I like the way they cook, but I wouldn't eat a bunch of them raw. I'd give you a bellyache.
Probably.
Oh man, they're good. Real good.
Maybe by next year, Woodrow and Ira can help us, reckon.
Yeah, if they're anything like us.
I'll tell you what's going to happen with Aaron. He's going to eat us out of tomatoes.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat us out of house and home in
He
general.
likes tomatoes.
He likes to eat.
And I've never seen a youngin' that little. He'll eat as many tomatoes as you'll sit there and pick for him.
Tommy toes, tomatoes, kraut, pickles,
Yeah.
meat, of course, and anything he can get his hands on, he likes.
I've got these sourdough crackers he likes a lot.
He likes anything. I think that's it.
We're gonna need more.
We're gonna need, I'm afraid, we're gonna need more. So when you start looking back through them, that's when I start seeing all the strings that we missed.
And by we, it's me.
No, it ain't just you, it's us too.
Well, sometimes it's hard to
And
get
then
'em.
as I'm washing them, I look, and then even as that first step of the bean scum, getting it off, I look and see some, and
Granny liked to string them with a knife. She wanted to string them with a knife. That's what she'd say. Sometimes she'd tell us, she's like, you can't get the strings off without a knife, so you guys don't string them, you just break them.
yeah.
And we'd watch Scooby-Doo. She loves Fox 41 on TV, so we'd watch Scooby-Doo.
Now some people, like, that's why they would never eat beans like this, because good grief, why would you want to worry about those strings? But it's just that they taste so good. They just have such a good flavor.
Oh, they're delicious.
I took Granny to the one of the local farms this week, and so she was going to get her some green beans. She asked about them, and they didn't have any white half runners. That's what she wanted. And the lady told her, said, all I have is, and she knows Granny. Granny's bought from them for years and years. She said, all I have is Malibu was the name of the bean, is Malibu's. And Granny said, no, I don't want them. And she said, well, no, why don't you take them and try them? They don't have no strings. All you have to do is break them. And she said, and a lot of my people that want only white half runners, once they taste them, they agree that they're good. So Granny was real hesitant, but the lady said, no, I'm going to give them to you. Just take enough to eat. So Granny did. I've not heard whether or not she cooked them or whether or not she liked them or not. Granny can be pretty stubborn, though. I halfway expected on the way home she'd say, now you take those beans home and cook them and see if and then I'll taste them and see if I like them, but she didn't.
Wow.
So maybe
Malibu beans, hadn't heard of that.
I've never heard of that either. If y'all have, you'll have to tell us.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. Dad, what's your favorite? Do you like the white half runners or the pole beans or the
It's
greasy back beans?
it's kind of a toss-up between greasy backs and peanut beans. I mean, I like those two better than all the rest of them.
And we like the rattlesnake beans. I like the taste of, I like everything about them because they're so prolific. But last year they were not prolific for us. They didn't do as good. So, and Matt said maybe we need to change it up this year and go back to what we did before.
Are these the white half runners?
No, those are peanut beans.
And we may go back to rattlesnake beans next year though. So,
Well, them's is pretty good right there.
Yeah.
I like the peanut beans. I like white half runners. I really do, but I think it's the greasy backs that I don't like as much. I like a thinner, leaner, skinnier looking bean. I like little white beans in the green bean itself. Are the greasy backs the ones that are wider and the bean is kind of...
no, they're more
Which ones am I
like
thinking
this.
of?
You're thinking about maybe the rattlesnake beans. They're more of a wider, longer bean. And then some of the ones we grew from Debbie. Now we really love the preacher bean. These are Debbie, our friend Debbie from Bryson Farm Supply before it closed. They had so many heirloom beans, so she shared so many seeds with us. So we've got them and we've tried them, and saved seeds too, trying to get enough to continue each line. But there was one, the preacher bean, we really liked, but it was very similar to maybe I don't remember, was it similar to a greasy back or to a white half runner?
It's kind of a greasy back type
Yeah,
of bean.
that's what I thought. And then there was also one, though, Katie makes me think of the one that you were talking about, but we didn't grow it but once, and it was a big old bean, and we didn't like it as much. But it was a case knife was the name of it. So it was like, if you don't know what a case knife is, what we call a case knife, of course, Matt may even have a case knife in his pocket right now, like a pocket knife, the brand Case. But what we call a case knife is the knife that comes with your silverware.
It's a butter knife.
Some people call it butter knife. I don't know what else people call it, but for us in Appalachia, it's very common to hear that called a case knife. That's what I grew up calling it. What I call it today is a case knife to me. So these beans, anyway, I'm sure that's why they were named that. They would get about as long as a case knife, and they were wide.
They were big old long.
We only grew them once, I think, and then we didn't plant them again. But I still have some of the seed. But
You float any of them in enough ham grease and they're all pretty good.
They're all pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The rattlesnake beans will get big like that. And the good thing about the rattlesnake beans is you can let them dry. Just leave them on that's what we did last year. Leave the last Was that last year or year before? I can't remember now. But anyway, you can leave the last picking on there, and it's what we did, and let them dry, and then shell them out and use those like a dried bean. You could technically do that with any bean, though. Some work better than others, but you could. So I think this may be enough. We'll put some potatoes in it.
All right, we'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think it might be enough. Thinking about it, that's a lot of beans. A lot of beans.
Well, and it,
Along with everything else we're
yeah,
with
and that's what I was
everything
gonna say.
else,
You do have to consider. It's not like we're only eating those.
Yeah,
So,
right. So I think it'll be good.
all right then.
Thank y'all for helping me.
Yeah.
Yes,
We hope you enjoyed spending time with us while we talked about green beans and broke them up. The only thing to make it better, I guess, is if you could come and eat them with us tonight.
That's right.
We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia, which green beans is a huge, huge part of.
Now, throw the beans. In celebration.
I don't know, I wouldn't want to pick them up, but that would be a funny video, just to throw them.
Oh yeah, maybe we could do a little time lapse thing.
These
or
little,
like
all the shellies, we've got a lot of shellies, that'd be hard to pick them up.
Yeah, we'd be serving gravel instead of. There is a shelly bean over there. It must have flew off. We'll just leave that.